What's up, guys and gals? I'm your host, Mike Pugh of the FPC Virtual Channel, and you're tuning in to a Blender Series special. I'm checking to see if my actual live stream is going on and in effect. Let's check this. Should be on, and we should be streaming. Yes, we are live on YouTube. I really do appreciate y'all folks for coming up and visiting me, checking me out on my actual YouTube channel. What we're going to be doing and talking about today is why is the viewport area for your animations on Blender 2.80 beta, why is it slow? So let me show y'all folks real quick what I'm talking about. Hit the play button and we want to know why this is moving so slow. EEVEE renderer is supposedly a real-time rendering engine, right? So why isn't this rendering in real time? Now if you look up here in the upper left corner, you follow where my mouse is going. Up here it says FPS and it's in red and it's indicating around 8 to 7 frames per second. But if you go where I have my actual properties section over here, if you look at your own properties section and say you're trying to render an animation and you got your animation all connected, got your character rigged, all that stuff done already. Maybe you went onto mixamo.com, the website, and you actually got your animation. You turned your character into a full-blown FBX file type and you merged it back onto Blender. Say you did all that stuff. If you don't know how to do that stuff, I'll try to make a video for y'all folks in the future for that particular purpose. If you haven't learned it yet, just feel free to drop a comment in the video's comment section below the description area, and I'll try to come up with a video as soon as I can. Now, in terms of people who already know how to do it, they probably questioning and saying to themselves, why is this rendering so slow? Well, to give you a definitive answer, I don't know, because I'm not actually a Blender developer and I didn't go in and do the coding and the Python stuff and all the differing Python codes that they put into it. But I have rendered through EEVEE, through the Blender viewport, and I rendered it at real time. And that was in maybe like the second iteration, the second version of Blender 2.80 beta that I downloaded. And this was back around the beginning of January or maybe like the tail end of December. Now I do have some of those older files as well. Let me pause this so you can stop looking at this thing moving back and forth. So pretty much I had that version and I believe I have it on my computer. I did delete a few of them because your computer will get bloated with so many of these differing versions after a while. So I decided to start getting rid of some of them. And the reason is because they come up with an update every single day. So let me show y'all folks where to get the updates if you want to get an update for your Blender 2.8 version. So we go to blender.org, right? And from there, you should notice that there's going to be a download section for your latest version of Blender 2.8. And if my computer doesn't freeze and crash, that's awesome, because I got a lot of different things to talk about really quick to try to help y'all folks to understand this stuff. Here we go right here. It says creative freedom starts here. Download Blender. And if you click on that, I believe it's going to download Blender 2.79b, which is the previous version of Blender. But if you want to go haywire and have fun and get out of control with the new version of Blender, you can try Blender 2.80 beta, and that should be a very fun experience. That's what I'm having right now. If you notice my latest videos, it's all covering this Blender 2.80 beta and differing things I'm starting to experiment with and have fun with. So let's click that link right there, that orange link, and it leads right here, and you still can get the previous version if you want a more stable version. But if you want to, like I said, get excited, overly excited, and have fun and go crazy with the new experimental version, then try 2.80 beta, Windows 64 version, or Windows 32-bit. Depends on your actual operating system. If you don't know how to get that understanding down packed, you don't know what kind of operating system you have, drop a comment. Feel free to drop a comment in the video's comment section, and I'll try to help y'all folks to figure that out as well from your computer. So basically, I got the 64-bit version, and this recent release was February 19th, and today is actually February 19th. So they put up a new update every single day. Every day they update it. So keep that in mind. If you want the most latest version, you can go and jump in, nosedive in, and get it. And I'll click it just for shits and giggles, just to get it for today. So I'll go click OK. Now, if you do that every single day, that's going to load up on your computer after a while, right? You're going to have a whole lot of zip folders lined up in your downloads section. So where do you get it actually? You go up here. If you're using Mozilla Firefox, you click this little down arrow and then you get this file folder that's loading, and it's the zip file folder. So basically, once it's done, you right click, use your right click mouse button, and you can actually unzip it if you wanted to unzip it, extract it, etc. But actually for this particular thing, I believe it will work as an unzipped type of file. So you want to unzip this one. This is not going to be an add-on. Now most Blender add-ons, you're going to unzip those. But actually no, most Blender add-ons, you're not going to unzip those. So blame my last, sorry about that. I made a little error with that. I'm moving really fast to try to just communicate as much as I can in a short period of time, because I can't stay, on this live session for too long. I got some work to do a little bit later. So right here goes the folder. If I wanted to unzip it or extract it, I go right click. This is for those who are brand new to all of this stuff. I'm going to go extract all. And this is not a video about that, but I just wanted to show y'all folks, this is what you would do. You extract all, and that's how you can get started with your Blender to get Blender 2.8 or any previous versions of Blender. So once all that's running in the background, it's actually a folder that's existing on your downloads. It's going to go to your downloads by default from your web browser. So if you go into your Windows computer, go into your desktop, look into downloads, you'll be able to find it as well, but it's going to be harder to find it. So that's why I said when you go to this drop menu thing for downloads from Mozilla Firefox, you're going to basically right click the open containing folder option, and then it brings you here and you can extract it. So that's all good. All those things, some people get used to it and eventually they become masters of the universe of extracting files, etc. So let's minimize all this stuff. I don't really need that running. I just wanted y'all folks to see that's some of the stuff that you have to do. Now getting back to what we came to see, which is the theme of today, animation, and why is it not running right? Well, basically it could be because your computer is bloated. That's a good example. That's why I wanted to show y'all folks that as well. Your computer could have way too many files on it that you've been loading up for years and years and years. So what you want to do is try to clear up your computer, right? Clean it out. Get more hard drive space. If you don't have hard drive space, that much hard drive space, upgrade your computer. Do as many things as you can possibly do to get your computer to be optimized. So when it comes to hitting the play button over here, your FPS will probably leap up like a leapfrog. I don't know, but that's one of my solutions for it. Right now my computer's running mad slow, so it's not really working that great. So sometimes it depends on your memory size, what type of memory size, or RAM, aka RAM, random access memory, something to that effect. I believe that's the computer language lingo for it, for RAM. So you want to upgrade your RAM. My RAM is kind of low. I got 8 gigs of RAM, which in today's age you can go up to like 32, 64, or maybe even higher RAM. Some supercomputers are pretty high. So mine's is very low, so obviously it still should run slow or probably freeze my computer if I have much lower gigs of RAM, something to that effect. So now let's move a little bit more into the properties area like I was talking about. This is the properties area, and this is how you can arrange your differing options for your viewport. So you can play with different things that you have in here. You can play with your camera. You can play with any kind of object that you click, and you can use the properties based on what type of object that you choose to select. So say I wanted to manipulate my armature, I can go and click that, and then it allows me to manipulate the armature through properties. So I can go in and dive deeper into armature controls and differing things like that. But what we're interested in is the actual render. So we want to look at what kind of rendering we're doing. So I don't care what I'm selected on, so I'm going to select on nothing. I'm going to have nothing selected. What I want to do is look at the render engine, which is, you look at the top area, you got active tool and workspace settings, and then one below the top is render, and then the second one under that is output. So these two right here, these little tabs, which is usually going to be defaulted to the left, I moved it to the right, they're going to be render options. So you go to your render option and you look at what render settings you should be at. Mine's is based on EEVEE, so that's what I want to render at, and based on whatever render settings I choose to select or that's defaulted, because generally Blender is going to come set up defaulted based on the web developer, or not web developer, but the Blender developer's actual coding and how they want it to be set, because everything has to start up from somewhere. So generally Blender 2.80 beta starts off as EEVEE, as an EEVEE render. You can change it to workbench. You can also change it to cycles, and that's depending on what you choose to do. So it's up to you. Once you get Blender running and you start it up, now it's up to you to change things and adjust the settings. So some people may not understand how the render engines differ, how they work. This is not a video about differentials in the render engines. This is just basically trying to help people to understand a little bit more about the EEVEE and why it's not working that great with animations. So in your viewport, you have over here, you have sampling, you have render, and you have viewport under the sampling section. So you got 64 samples is what it's going to be rendering at, and you have your viewport at the bottom, which is 16 samples. So what's the difference between render and viewport in this option here? Basically, render means that you're going to render a final output of what your product is going to be produced. So say you wanted to create a final version of, maybe you want to make an animated short film, or you want to make some sort of a still image shot, 2D image shot off of your 3D viewport, whatever's in your 3D viewport, right? Well, render gives you the options here to do that. So what are you rendering at? Rendering has to be basically calculated based on samples, and it actually goes in and inputs data based on samples. So you have to set this at a certain level, and generally Blender defaults it to a very low level. So when you start out, your computer doesn't do too much work, and it doesn't freeze automatically. If it's a very slow computer, doesn't have much gigs, doesn't have much RAM in terms of hard drive space and RAM, and your graphics card also makes a big difference as well, which I didn't talk about. But your graphics card will determine whether or not you can even use Blender in the version that it's upgraded to. So if you're upgraded to Blender 2.80 beta, 9 times out of 10, the older graphics cards from Windows XP and Windows 7, some of those computers between XP and Windows 7 won't have a strong or powerful graphics card, aka a GPU. So you won't be able to render at certain rates at all, and you probably won't be able to download this version of Blender at all, pretty much. So you have to upgrade your computer first to a higher level of graphics cards. So what you want to do is go in to find out what level of compatibility it is required for that particular version of Blender. So you would have to go in and dig deep into seeing what are the compatibilities to this actual this volume or this version. Previous versions will work obviously for older computers because it requires more of a less graphics computations, less graphics power, less GPU power. The more higher levels and higher versions of Blender will require higher scales of graphics card, and the GPU has to be much more stronger. It has to have much more gig capacity and the ability to render on a higher scale. You know, those are the kind of things that some people don't realize. So when they try to play around with certain software, all of a sudden it doesn't work for them, and then they get frustrated. But in the end, they're gonna start to realize, if they do and do the right research, they're gonna find out that they have to change their graphics card, upgrade the graphics card, or more than likely upgrade their computer. So that's the kind of stuff that you have to deal with. So that's why the render at the samples area, the sampling area, will start out with a very low level, because if your computer is compatible, it may freeze. Alright, so we're over here on MakeHuman. I really do apologize for that, whatever occurred with that part, folks. So we're on MakeHuman, and what we're going to do, we're going to go to that character. We're going to load him in, Timo, if I could find him. And we're going to get him to come in with the character textures and stuff like that, so I can get the nodes working properly for his eyelashes and eyebrows. So here he is right here. I did put kind of like girlish eyelashes and eyebrows, but it's all good. I'm not worried about that. I just want y'all folks to see the process of what you can do. So let's go to export. We're going to go to wavefront object file, type, and then we're going to go to make sure that we're sending it to his Timo folder, and we may have to change the name of the textures. So we're going to go to Timo, change this name real quick because the textures are going to come in as well and it's going to duplicate. We're going to rename this to textured with a D. Hit enter, and then we're going to call this file Timo2. Timo2. And basically we're exporting it as a wavefront object file. Alright, so now when Timo comes in, it's going to be a different name from the Timo1. It's going to come in as Timo2. So we're going to go to File, Import, and go to Wavefront Object, and look for Timo2. Hit Import Object. And we're not worried about his size or anything like that. All we want to look at is his node connections. So we're going to go to his node connections, and we're going to check what he has. And for some reason I'm not able to select his individual parts. That's interesting. Alright, so his individual parts is set up as he has a full body mesh, so the whole entire mesh, all the individual parts are tied together. So you have to go in through the outliner and you have to hit this drop menu to open up all the individual parts. You can't see them separate like you see here. So I have to go to eyebrow right here. So when you select the eyebrow, here goes the connections, and let's go into his eyebrow here and then try to make alpha blend. Let's see what it looks like. Hold on 1 second. Shift, and it looks like that's an epic fail. It's not working the way it's supposed to. How about we go to, does he have eyelashes? Eyebrow light. I don't see that he has any eyelashes in terms of the objects. That's crazy. So all of this stuff is a fail. Okay, we're gonna use the Control-Z button. We're gonna delete, basically go backwards and get rid of that add that I did, or import. And if it allows me to, Control-Z, 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 Control-Z. Alright, there we go. So now he's omitted, he's out of there, out of the equation. You can also use Control-Z to undo as many things as you want, up to about, I believe, 20 steps back. 20 functions or 20 different functionalities or whatever actions you took back, I believe 20 to 25 maybe. So now what we want to do, let's go back to MakeHuman, and instead we're not going to use the object file, we're going to use the MakeHuman exchange. That's what I used initially, and we're going to send him as Timo2 and export him as a MakeHuman exchange, aka .mhx2. That gives you the bone structures and different pose types and all kinds of different things, materials. It adds everything tied together from all these options that you have here. So now we're going to import through the MHX2 option, MHX2 runtime. We're going to import through here, and I'm not going to make an override. Override data, usually you have to override the exported data to get highly advanced rigs and stuff like that. I'm just going to add them this way, regular. So we're going to go in, hit the arrow, go to objects or 3D objects, and we're going to go for MakeHuman, and we're going to go for Timo. Then Timo2.mhx, and then import MHX2. And there we go. Now he comes in as MHX2 character, and all his files should be separate. You'll see all his textures and everything is separate. So we're going to go to eyebrow, and we're going to go into his material, or actually let me select him if I can select certain things. Actually, I can't select anything right now because I'm in pose mode, so I got to change the object mode, and now I can select individual parts. So now we go to make sure we're in the properties here for the material area, and then we're going to go to alpha blend, and now the alphas are going to work. Boom. See that? So now you know the alphas are working there. So what you want to do is select whichever one you want and make sure you're in the shader editor. And now you can basically copy everything here. So we're gonna hit the A key, select all, basically. Hit the A key twice to select all, and then we're gonna do Control C to copy all of this. And now we're gonna take that node data and we're gonna copy it to this character here. We'll click on him and click on his eyebrows, and you see all this stuff here. We're gonna hit the A key to select all. You'll see it's highlighted in orange. See that? And we're gonna delete that. And we're going to Control V and bring in his eyelashes that way. Now all we have to do is get rid of this one, which is the eyelash 02, and we're gonna have to go into his new folder, or his previous folder I should say. This is the new folder actually, so we got to go into his previous folder and we have to change something. But before we do that, let's go to Alpha Blend and see if that works. Wow, look, it worked. So we don't have to do that. Now it worked. So see, the Alpha Blend worked for the eyes. So you don't have to know the node connections like I said. You just have to go into that file from the MHX2 and then automatically, bam, it works. Now this one will also work. Let's go to the settings. The Alpha Blend is already set up. And we're going to hit the A key to select all and delete that. Now it turns pink. Let's go up to the other one. Use the shift key, drag it down or zoom out, and then go in closer, hit these eyebrows, and then select all. A, select all, Control C, and now we can scroll out and then get this character here and get on these eyelashes, and then make sure you're in here and then Control V, and boom, now it worked. But if you notice, it looks like it has some issues. I don't know why. So something isn't working the way it's supposed to be set up. So this one probably is going to have to be changed. So what you got to do is go to this. This is a graphic image. This is an image node. Let's see, we'll go to, let's see, texture. Where's the image node? Right here. So it's an image texture. So you can add an image texture if you want, or you can just drag and drop one. So we're going to go back to his old folders, which is the textured folder. Go back to Timo, go to textured, and look for his eyebrows and just drag it in here. And then we're going to disconnect this color node and connect it to this color node. See that? So what you see here, it says color. We're going to connect it to this one. So take that off and drag it and connect it to that one. And then the alpha is connected to the FAC of the mix shader here. We're going to take that FAC out and we're going to connect it to this alpha here. So FAC connected to this alpha. That's that. And the very last one we need to replace is this vector node. So in order to do that, we have to take this text coordinate one or texture coordinate one and pull it behind the new one because the vector's in the back. And we're going to take this vector node connection out, and it's going to connect to the UV. See, it says UV and vector, and that's basically it right there. That should be everything. Now this node connection is dead. So hit delete, and now it fixed the problem. Look at this. Hold on one second. If I can zoom in. Alright, so now let me get rid of the previous, not previous, but the newer iteration of Timo. Highlight all of those things and make sure nothing else is highlighted. And then actually I have to get every single one highlighted. And then delete. Use the delete key from the viewport, and now all of his files are gone. And now we got this guy fixed up. So once I do the animation, I'm gonna run the animation, and now it should be fully figured, have everything in there in line, and it should work out with no problem. So we're gonna do a render. We're gonna render animation, and that's gonna render to this bad boy here. And you'll see he's gonna do the worm in there. So it takes some time to figure out how to get all this stuff working, but as time goes along, you'll start to learn Blender. You'll start to figure out, you know, all the different things that you can do and how you can perform and pull off certain things. And like I said, I do apologize if I, you know, with that error that I had with my live stream, I really didn't expect to have that issue. I didn't realize that I had some pre-configurations with my my button settings, so I don't know at what point the video failed, the live stream video failed, but I really do appreciate those who actually checked out the live stream so far. It's really awesome. The fact that I can get people to check out what is, you know, what's actually happening in real time. Whatever errors I do have, every little detail you guys and gals get to see. My vocal inflection, the voice inflection issues, if I have issues with that, I get to improve on all that stuff, which is good. So other than that, my Blender just crashed, and that sucked because that was the render that I wanted y'all folks to see. So it just now crashed after all that work, but it's all good. At least y'all guys and gals got to see the process. Pretty much, I would find that video in animation tests or anime tests here, because I designated to be part of Blender animations or anime tests. It's either in that folder or this folder here. And I don't know if it worked. I don't think it actually came out the way it's supposed to. I should have put it in this one actually. So let me go double check, see if I can get it to come back. I'm gonna end this session at this point. Let me just bring it back up and see if it actually came up. If Blender comes back up and it can bring me back that crash, because if I could bring that back, that'd be cool, because I forgot to save it. As y'all folks saw, I started from scratch when I started this live stream. So let's see if we can recover it. We'll go to File and Recover Last Session. Let's see what that does. And I got nothing. So it's all good. I'm not worried about it. We can do something very quick just to make all that stuff happen. Go to File. Let's see. Where were we at? Import. I'm trying to import something, right? No, that's not how you do it. Let's see. File. I think that's FBX that I wanted to import. And this says .blend. It's not supposed to be .blend. Go to 3D Object. Go to MakeHuman and Timo. And the worm is the one that I wanted. I'm not sure why it did that, why it actually crashed, but let's bring this down, scale it down. Boom. Move this back. Boom. 0. Position this. Boom. Okay. Now that's set up for render, and let's add the textures back again. So we gotta switch this on. Let's see, shader editor. Bring this back up, and I'm thinking I should just copy everything that I did before. So that would be a good way to do it. Let's bring that MHX2 in there, import, and bring in that MHX2 character, Timo, just to speed up the process. There it is. So he's all decked out. We'll just steal his textures. That's what we'll do. It's in pose mode. It comes in pose mode, so I got to switch to object mode. Then I'll take all this data, Control C, implement this to his pants, delete that, Control V, There goes the pants. Done real quick. Control C. Jump onto this guy's boots. Delete that. Control V. See how fast I'm doing it? Okay. Boom. Control C. Boom. Delete that. Control V. And face components, delete that. Drag this down. Face components, copy this one. Drag it up. Face components. Control V. Oh shoot. That was an error. Control Z. Let's back that up. I went a little too fast. Something happened right there. Alright, let's go this. Control C. Move it up. Facial components. Control V. There we go. I think I actually tried to Control V in the viewport, which tried to duplicate it. That's probably what I did wrong. Okay, let's go a little bit more faster. Texture of the eyes. Control C. Okay. Let's pull it up. Texture of the eyes. There we go. Delete. Control V. Bam. So now we go down to settings. We're using nodes. Where's the settings at? Right here. Alpha blend. Now let's just check the eyes and see if that's in. Yep, the eyes are in. Let's delete the texture for this one and delete the texture for that one. Oops. Control Z, bring that back. I didn't mean to do that. I have to be in this section. Make sure you're in the shade editor in order to delete. Now they both turn pink, and let's do those. So boom, boom. That's automatically selected, so Control C. Shift back down. Boom, boom, boom. Control V. Opaque to alpha blend. There it is. That worked. Now we're going to scroll down a little bit more. Come on, baby. We almost got it in there. Alright. Control C. And shift this up. This is the fastest way I think it can be done because, like I said, when you're doing your FBX and all that stuff, it's going to remove all of your textures if you're using Mixamo. So now we're going to select everything in Timo 2 and use the shift key to select all of these here. Shift left click mouse button and delete all that. The delete key while you're in the viewport, and bam, now you're back to square one, and we need to bring that lamp closer to him and within respective scale, and then turn the lamp to, let's bring this up real quick so y'all folks can see. Drag this out to a point light, and we're going to change the shader to rendered. Now you can see it in the viewport, and just bring that light back out a little bit. I'll put another lamp in there. Go to cursor, throw another lamp, shift A, and then go to light, point light right down there. Now you can see him a lot better. Alright, so now we're going to make another attempt at the render. So let's go to the render option. Make sure the output is not an attempt file like I said, and I'm going to switch it. We're going to go to documents, hit that up arrow, look for videos. And sorry I'm going so fast, but y'all folks already should have seen everything. Go to Blender Animations and go to Animate Test. I'm going to put it right in there. Go to Accept, and I'm going to change the output from PNG to FFmpeg video. Well, I did that before. Let me just try the AVI. I don't know. I'm not sure which format actually worked out better. Actually, let's go back and check the format. Let's see what this file format is set at. It says MKV. So what's an MKV? Is MKV FFmpeg. I don't even know. All right, so I'll just leave the FFmpeg video like so. And other than that, this is 30 frames per second. That's good. Make sure your frame rate is set at 30 frames per second for your dimensions area here. And the end time start is 191. Reason why I know that is if you go back to Mixamo, you'll see here, right here it has 100, and let's see, it says 100 frames, but it's not 100 frames. I don't know what's going on with this thing here. Let's see real quick. Which one did I choose? This one? No, not that one. Nope. It was this one. Okay. Oh, so it has 100 frames. So this one will stop at 100. So we have to drop that to 100. The other one was at 191. So this one is at 100. That's what it's going to end at. So from start frame of 1 to 100. So it's going to start on the start frame of 1. We're going to change this option here to the timeline. So the timeline allows you to play your animation, and then we're going to play and see what it does. Look at that. It's running pretty good, actually. A little bit better than the other one using EEVEE. Interesting. And right now it's not showing the actual that's crazy. It looks like it's running exactly the way it's supposed to. Probably. I'm not sure if it's running exactly the way it's supposed to. So he's doing the worm. Pretty cool. We're gonna take out the overlays, but this is not the exact frame rate. It's not really showing the exact frame rate. I don't think it is. I think probably because I have the preferences set up differently. Let's go to the preferences real quick. Go down here, check out the blender preferences, and hit the playback. That's why the playback wasn't selected. So I select the playback, and now let's play it. And let's see. Oh, we have to select overlays. And right now it's running at 21 frames per second. That's why it's moving a lot faster. So I guess it depends on what type of animation file that is sent into Blender that will determine the rate of speed as well. Let's see if we can adjust that. Maybe we can adjust it over here to a certain speed. Let's take this into overdrive. See what that does. Look at that. So we can change the rate of speed through that, and that probably will fix some of the issues in the Blender render of EEVEE. Maybe that will increase the frames per second. I can play around with that and do another video just so y'all folks can see the output and outcome on that. But I don't have enough time to do that. So what we're going to do now, we're going to pause that. We're not going to actually do anything with this. We're going to go to, let's see, over, make sure this is in EEVEE. We'll leave the render. Let's leave the render set at 64 for shits and giggles, because I did take it down to 5 and it probably was the reason why it crashed. I don't know why it crashed, but Blender 2.8.0 beta is an experimental actual version. It's not in the full release, so if you have crashes, so be it. It's gonna happen. So like y'all folks saw, this is sent to my videos folder, Blender animations and anime tests. Now we're gonna try it with the full textures, and we're gonna go to render animation, and then that's gonna go and try to render out over here. So we'll just minimize that and let it render. You can tell the render percentage down here. Once it's done, you can also look right here where it has these frames. Once it hits 100 over here, and that number is going up from 20 to whatever, once that hits 100, it's gonna end. So the start is 1, the end is 100. That's how many frames it's gonna render out. So once it hits 100, that means that it's completed, and I can check that folder that I sent it to, and it should have an actual video file in there. And then from that point, I can just play it, and it should play through my Windows Media Viewer or whatever, Windows Media Player, or any other video file player. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So right now we're at 64. Got my fingers crossed that Blender doesn't crash and it makes it all the way to 100. That way y'all folks can see. But yeah, I gotta end this session. I definitely gotta get myself ready for work, and so that way I don't get things mixed up with that timing as well. But I really do appreciate excuse me. I really do appreciate y'all folks for showing up. I'll get that part scratched out and deleted once I get the video to become a full-fledged YouTube video. But I really do appreciate y'all folks for showing up. Like I said earlier in the video, I have to say that at the end, tail end, because hey, y'all didn't have to come and watch my video. Nobody had to come and watch it. So no one's forced to watch anything. So y'all folks chose to do it on your own, which is pretty dope, and I really do appreciate that. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to hit the thumbs up if y'all folks like the video for what I have to offer in terms of how-to, because basically that's what I do. I love to help people and try my best to come up with solutions to things that I have troubles with, pretty much. So let's see the output. Let's check the output real quick. Before that, I'm going to shut this off so it doesn't cause any other issues. So I'm going to shut this out. It's still stored into the screen or whatever. And we'll go to that folder and check to see if it's here. And how you can tell, it numbers it by 0001 to 100 or 001 to 0100. The previous animation was this one. So we're going to right click and go to open with, and open with Windows Media Player. You can also open with VLC or any of the other ones. We'll test the media player, see if it works. And look at that. Now that's rendering through EEVEE. Pretty dope. So let's go in full view, full screen view, and that's pretty dope. See, it's real time. Not real time, but it's rendering as if it's in real time. So y'all folks can get an idea of what you want to create in your viewport. Come up with all different types of scenes and differing animations all built in, and then you can create maybe a short film. That's up to you. But I don't know if Mixamo has every little animation that you will need to build in to make an actual short film, and also the facial animations. That's the part that I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to figure out how to create a mocap setup through Blender without having code, you know, scripts and all that stuff. It's not easy to do it without that code stuff and without having highly advanced tools like an iPhone X, which allows you to have facial mocap data inserted in if you have the right codes, right Python codes, you know, through your animation nodes and stuff like that on Blender. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can also use the, let's see, you have the movie clip editor. You can use the movie clip editor, switch to it, and you upload a video with facial markers. You put markers on your face or whatever, and or use a digital marker, facial markers, and you can apply it here. The problem I'm having with it is that it comes out as a flat surface instead of three-dimensional, the type of markers that I use. So all the differing empties that I get, you have to get these empties that come and get converted into a 3D format. My markers come up as just a flat surface, so when it gets applied to the differing points on the face of the 3D mesh and also of the bones that I have, the armature that I have, it deforms the armature in such a way where the face gets all messed up. So I'm not able to pull off a good mocap for facial mocap, and then I'm not able to actually make the mouth motion, you know, simulate what it's supposed to simulate as a person talking. I did pull off an older version of Blender using some other videos of a Papagayo. They have this thing called Papagayo where you use phenoms. You can get the mouth motions to move based on phenoms, like A-E-I-O-U type of thing or whatever, and you have to program it. But with Blender 2.8, they don't have the Papagayo set up here. You don't have like an add-on for it, so it's not easy to make that work. I don't think that'll actually work. They do have MHX2, I believe, gives you some shape keys and stuff like that. So if you get the shape keys working, you can tie in probably animation nodes to shape keys. I don't know exactly how they do all of that, but I'll figure it out. I gotta go now though. I'm getting some calls. I got clients and stuff like that. I'll see y'all folks in some future videos.